Howdy, Aggies. Thank you for joining this workshop where I'll be going over how to prepare to be a competitive applicant for PA school. In this workshop, I'll be going over prerequisites, patient care experiences, admissions exams, application timeline, and more. To apply to PA programs, it doesn't matter what major you are. PA programs require courses that are considered prerequisites to apply. On the screen, you will see the prerequisites for the Texas PA schools. Some schools might not require certain prerequisites listed. However, it is best to complete all listed courses to increase the amount of schools you will qualify for come time when you apply. Certain majors will allow more flexibility in completing these prerequisites. However, if a listed prerequisite is not a requirement for your major, it is your responsibility to meet with your academic advisor to see how to fit it into your degree plan. I get the question all the time about whether it matters if you take these courses at Texas A&M versus taking them in a community college. So Texas A&M basically teaches courses at a higher rigor that compared to most community colleges. So that's why we advise students to take all their prerequisites at A&M, especially their science prerequisites, to ensure you show your dedication when you apply. If you plan to take courses at a community college, make sure they're transfer equivalent to the PA programs you're applying to. Note, admissions requirement can change at any time for PA schools. It is always your responsibility to stay up to date on all requirements. So utilize direct resources like admissions websites, open houses, informationals, and cross-reference with our office if you're unsure. Another quick update I wanted to give you all is regarding some new courses that are now offered through the Department of Nutrition. So if you're majoring in nutrition, please keep in mind that Nutrition 366, 367, and 440 may be accepted to some PA programs, but not all. So here on the screen, you can see some of the schools that do accept these credits. But you can also see that some programs will not take 366, 367, and 440, Institution of Microbiology, A&P, that was listed on the last slide. So when it gets closer to application or before you even enroll in these classes, make sure that you check with your preferred schools so that way you don't have to take these classes all over again. Similarly, with those majoring in public health, make sure that you do take STAT 301, 302, 303, or 312, since those stats are the ones that are accepted by all PA programs, instead of taking STAT 316, 314, or 315. So see if you can work with your department, with your academic advisor to take one of the other stats instead of these, and just so again, you don't have to retake these classes. Okay, let's talk about credit by exam and dual credit. So if you took credit by exam or AP classes in high school, it is your responsibility to decide if you need to accept them or not. Certain PA schools will not accept credit by exam to meet prerequisites requirements. Credit by exam, when accepted on your Howdy portal, will not populate a grade. So it is advised to take your science courses again to ensure you understand the material at a higher rigor, while also preparing you for upper-level science courses in your majors. So double check with your academic advisor on what your major requires and then cross-reference the PA schools you have interest in applying to. Dual credit is different from credit by exam. Dual credit courses are taken in partnership with your high school and community college or university. Dual credit courses will be shown in your Howdy portal with a grade. It will be listed as TA, TB, TC, so on and so forth. These courses should count towards PA prerequisites requirements, but again, you should definitely double check with PA schools if you're not sure. Most PA programs have something called prerequisite deadlines. If a school has a prerequisite deadline and you have pending prerequisites when you apply, you will not qualify for admissions to the program. Typically, students apply for PA programs after junior year or after graduation. If you're planning on not taking a gap semester or gap year and are planning applying after your junior year, it is advised to complete all your prerequisites by the end of your junior year spring semester. For juniors that are applying, you will not qualify for spring January start date programs unless you're graduating early. So that's something else to keep in mind. Okay. Once again, grades come first. PA schools have become one of the most competitive schools to get into. PA schools take into consideration two GPAs. So they're going to look at your overall GPA and your science GPA. These GPAs are calculated with courses you have taken at all institutions, so Texas A&M, Community College, or another four-year institution. If you retake a class, note that the original grade and the new grade will be taken into consideration, so your grade will not be replaced. To determine which classes go towards the science GPA review, CASPA's courses subjects on their help guide, which is the QR code that you see here on the screen. So if you're not sure which classes count towards your science GPA, I recommend for you to check the CASPA course subjects. Another thing I want to make sure you're aware of is that typically admissions require a 3.0 overall in science GPA. However, the competitive average for a matriculant GPA is around 3.6 to 3.7. So again, it's just something else to keep in mind. PA schools review applicants holistically, meaning they take into consideration grades, experiences, letters of recommendations, essays, and more. However, like I said before, grades come first. If you do not have a competitive GPA or you are missing prerequisite courses, you will have a lower chance or not even qualify at getting interviews. So OPSA has a what do I need to be working on reference sheet that you can find on our website. Recommend for you to check this sheet or this handout so that way you know what are some things that you need to work on, which again is listed on the screen. So we're talking about healthcare and patient care experience, volunteer experience, extracurricular and leadership experience, certifications, research, which is optional. But yes, we do have a list that or a guide that you can utilize, especially if you're just starting to help you stay on track. Another thing I wanted to note is that PA schools have taken big consideration into direct patient care experiences, which we'll talk about in just a second. One of the things that sets PA school admissions apart from other schools is their higher desire for applicants to have direct patient care experiences. And again, it's more than medical schools expect or even dental schools. So yes, they typically do desire their applicants to have a good amount of direct patient care hours. However, direct patient care hours is different from healthcare experience. Healthcare experiences are both paid and unpaid work in a health or health related field where you're not directly responsible for a patient's care, but you may still have patient interaction. For example, filling prescriptions, forming clerical work, delivering patients' food, cleaning their room, taking vitals, and or scribing. Patient care experiences are in which you are directly responsible for a patient's care. So this can look like us prescribing medication, performing procedures, directing a course of treatment, actively working on patients as a MA, EMT, CNA, phlebotomist, patient care tech, etc. Shadowing is a separate portion of your PA application and it's definitely something you should consider if you're still deciding if PA is the right career path for you. The competitive average for patient care hours is 1,000 to 3,000 hours. But again, if your GPA is lower than the competitive average, you can potentially squeeze your chances at interview with more patient care experiences in hours. So this is another thing to keep in mind. Okay, admissions and exams can be required for certain PA programs. Do your research on what programs you plan to apply to and what their requirements are. So typically schools in Texas will require the GRE. And the GRE is registered by ATS, and it's something I recommend you to take before the April of your senior year, depending on when you're applying. So utilize your summer and winter break to take this exam, as your scores do not expire for 5 years. Um, Another thing I want to highlight is that studying for the GRE is dependent on how you score on practice exams. There are a lot of online free exams that you can take, so utilize them to decide what kind of study plan you need. And I also recommend students to score at least 150 and between 150 and 155 in verbal and quantitative reasoning section, and at least a 4.0 in writing to make yourself competitive. Here on the screen, you can see a breakdown of the exam as well. 3 sections. This is something that you can take at home or in person. And you can take more than once. Also keep in mind that if you decide to retake it, you do need to wait 21 days to retake it. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend students to take this exam early. The Casper exam is registered by Acuity Insights. This exam can only be taken once per cycle and will only be available for registration after the cycle opens. Only some schools require the Casper exam. The Casper exam is a situational judgment test where you will have to provide both type and media responses to scenarios provided. Prepare by taking practice tests on Acuity Insight, and also I would recommend practicing your interview skills. The Casper is scored in quartiles, and it's recommended that you score in the 3rd or 4th quartile. Many of you will be talking to your peers or Googling for answers for your questions. So just make sure the information you're getting is up to date and valid. CASPET is the applicant portal you will utilize to apply to PA school. They have a really good guide that can answer a lot of your application questions. Always use direct admissions web pages for program specific information and cross-reference with office if you're unsure. To students who are ready to apply, the first opportunity to apply is after your spring semester of junior year. CASPA opens at the end of April, and the application cycle can last for almost an entire year. For students that are applying this upcoming cycle, you will start your application in April and hopefully submit early summer. Interviews can start as early as June and can last until February, depending on the school. Some programs will matriculate students in January, while most matriculate between May and August, which is like summer, fall semester. When you apply, it's dependent on how competitive of an applicant you are. To decide, utilize what your overall and science GPA scores are, test scores, how many patient care hours you have, and if you have other applicant requirements like your essays and letters of recommendation. Screenshot this slide, as this is helpful timeline for juniors and seniors. It provides a high-level outline of what your months will look like when you're applying, when you're preparing to apply and after you apply. Okay, so there will be future workshops in our application support. We also have videos on how to write a personal statement, how to fill out CASPA, and we do have workshops on how to prepare for interviews. So I highly recommend you go on our website and register for these workshops, and also go to our YouTube page to watch some of the recordings. But this is it. So if you have any questions or would like to make an appointment with us, here's a number. Make sure that you call. And one of our front desk members will help you set up an appointment. This is also our email, and below you'll see our PA handout I recommend for you to have, where it will have the prerequisites listed, and it will also show you which schools require what. And the other thing I recommend you to do is to sign up for the PA listserv if you haven't already. We do our best to keep you guys up to date with, again, upcoming workshops and volunteering opportunities and other opportunities to engage on campus that may be relevant to your interests. So yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I wish you luck in your application.